All right, I want to say I actually like a lot of these YouTubers, Forge Gaming, Ademion TV, Luke Stevens. I like them. I'm actually subscribed to them, but I have an issue. I feel like they're not being very honest with the audience. And this, of course, this is about Highguard. Well, yeah, I would say it's not doing too good. The numbers, kind of bad. Let's actually get into what they have to say, and I'm gonna kind of counteract some of their talking points because I feel like they're just not being very honest. So let's actually get into some of their talking points.
Highguard was fine. It was nothing special, which, yes, led to its own failure. It's like these people understand why things fail, but then they refuse to admit it themselves. It's so weird. Like, you know that fine isn't good enough in a space that's competitive. You need to bring your S tier game like Arc Raiders did too. Even Fortnite is leagues ahead of its own competition, and they add new things like all the time. I can already hear people saying, oh, it's not fair to compare this to Fortnite. Fortnite's made by hundreds of developers. Well, too bad, okay? Life isn't fair. Nobody owes you anything.
Okay, yeah, let's compare it to Fortnite. Let's do that. Does anybody remember when Fortnite first came out? No, it wasn't a battle royale. It was a base defense game. No one played it, and I actually did play it when it first came out. That was okay, but my point is, nobody liked it. Nobody was playing that game. Then they pivoted and copied PUBG and made a battle royale. Put their own little twist on it. But my point is, it didn't work, and people weren't playing the game when it first came out. So I'm like, okay, that's a bad example and talking point right there, because maybe if people actually gave this game a chance, they can, make some changes. We already got the 5v5, came out before the weekend. It was a limited time mode, but it's actually a permanent mode now. Like, I get where he's coming from, but a lot of these games that come out aren't really that good when they first come out. Another example, Cyberpunk. That game was a straight mess when it first came out, but they worked on it, and it's a much better game now, and everyone loves it. Everyone did not love that game when it first came out. No Man's Sky is another example. A lot of people didn't like that game. They worked on it. So many updates. So many amazing updates. Now people love the game. And he makes another point too.
But like most gaming journalists who hate their audiences these days, Jason Schreier also couldn't help himself to villainize the people who speak out against such games because they have voices. Dusty Welch, that Fortnite-sounding developer, spoke on how they wanted to shadow drop the game in the first place, but instead went for the trailer at the Game Awards instead. But here's where Jason Schreier weaponizes all of this, as it reads here. In retrospect, that may have been a mistake. In the weeks after it was announced, Highguard became a punching bag for a cavalcade of fire-breathing pundits and video makers calling it the next Concord, a reference to the infamous Sony flop that was taken down less than 2 weeks after it launched. Ah yes, Jason, the fire-breathing pundits and video makers. He means content creators, by the way. Jason, we've been over this, man. You can call people like me whatever you want. It's not going to change anything. The difference between me and you...
Now, I don't agree with Jason on that, like calling people's names. I'm not going to go that far. That's a good example. Like, people, some content creators and stuff were calling it Highguard 2 already before it came out. No one played it. We found out like a couple weeks before the game comes out that they invited some content creators to actually play it. So no content creators, when it got first announced, no one played it, but content creators and a lot of players, the audience, were calling it Concord 2. Was it justified? I would say no. And that leads me into the numbers. And Forge Gaming brings up the numbers. And I feel like he's not being very honest about why the numbers were so high dropped off.
Act doesn't make a game successful. It's not going to make the game go viral. It's not going to make a bunch of people download and keep playing. Look at the player drop off on Steam. Do you honestly think that the Highguard Steam charts, do you honestly think that this happened because people were being mean on Twitter? You think this happened within the first day? I mean, it just drops like a rock. So everybody that downloaded this on Steam and was playing it basically stopped within 24 to 48 hours. Why? Because somebody said something mean in YouTube or Twitter? No, this is consumer response.
Okay, let's be honest, Forge Gaming. Yes, people just hopped on the game. It's free to play. They have nothing to lose. Hop on the game and just review bomb it, and we can just look at the charts and the reviews, how day one most of the people who got on and actually reviewed the game, yeah, it's not looking so good. So that all the people that actually got on that first day and just wanted to shit on this game and just review bomb it, they did that, and it was negative, overwhelmingly negative. But now you see it's sitting at mixed. So you're telling me this isn't a review bomb. And you can see on day one or whatever, when it launched, it was like 9,000 to 200,000, negative to positive. But you see the later days, it kind of evened out. Then you can see right here, the positive reviews are going up and up, 1,000, 1,100 to 600. And you can see the rest of the days, people that actually, wanted to give it a fair chance and wanted to play it are giving it a positive review. So when he talks about, you just think people just wanted to hop on the game and, review bomb it. Yes. In Demon's video, they basically, everybody was already hating on this game. And one thing that I've learned being on the internet, people do not want to admit they were wrong. They don't. And Forge Gaming had something else to say that kind of, I wanted to make a little comment on.
Fathom why. If you paid any attention to the live service landscape recently, you had to know that anything that looks like Highguard was ripe for public scrutiny, dislike, and even hate, which is why I'm saying this game makes no sense. Let's just start with the devs themselves.
And he just proves my point again. Everyone was hating on this game before it came out. They wanted this game to fail. Well, they're kind of getting what they wanted because the game is kind of failing. And I want to say this game is kind of unique compared to what we got. Let's take Battlefield as an example. What is Battlefield? It's basically, Battlefield 6 is basically Battlefield 3 and 4. Again, is that very original? No, it's not. It's not. COD, Black Ops 7, is that very original? Not really. It's basically, this is just me talking about the multiplayer. It's just basically Black Ops 2 with wall jump. It's just basically Black Ops 2 with wall jumping. So they kind of gave you some old mechanics still, with basically like with Black Ops 3 with the jetpacks and stuff, but kind of stripped that away and just gave us wall jumping. These games aren't original, and like I expected with Battlefield, a lot of people left Battlefield. So if we look at the numbers on Battlefield on Steam, because these are all the numbers we have, you can see it had a big drop off and it's just keep falling off because it's not that original. It's just, like I said, Battlefield 3 and 4, and people said they wanted this, but I would say, even like, I like Battlefield. I've been playing it since Bad Company 2, and I played every single Battlefield since, but it gets boring after a while. The gameplay loop, the stuff you earn, like, it's just not fun. Like, after a while, it gets very boring. I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for that, but it's the truth. Like, the reason people keep coming back to COD and stuff because of the prestige systems, the weapon camo grind, the score streak. It's a lot of reason because it just holds people attentions better. Battlefield really doesn't do that. I mean, there's really nothing to do in Battlefield games besides, you know, play the core modes. You know, hopefully you win, you get some kills. Hopefully you get teammates to actually play the objective and actually play their roles.
We'll circle back to this a little bit later because a lot of people tried it for an hour and then moved on and said, it's not for me, it's not ready. Maybe it is eventually for me, but right now it's just not where it needs to be. And so they moved on. But at the very least, people tried it. And after trying it, the general consensus seems to be that there's some interesting ideas, there's some compelling things going on, but it's just not ready. Like, there's one game mode, it's 3v3, which just feels kind of weird for how big the maps are. A lot of the like sweaty elements, it's kind of designed to be a sweaty game, but a lot of the sweaty, like for example, control settings are not sweaty. So like there's apparently built-in mouse acceleration, which you just like can't turn off. Apparently there's mouse smoothing, mouse smoothing, which is built in as well. Like there's just weird stuff like that. Shroud of all people was saying that it's really hard.
So he's being kind of fair. That was Luke talking about it. And yeah, the game has some interesting features. Like, there's no game on the market that's like this. And yes, you can say it's just taking stuff from other games. Fair. But can you say there's another game that's like this? No, you really can't. You can try to be not honest about it, but it's not, you know. But like Luke said, you know, there are some problems when it first came out. They're kind of working on it, you know, with the settings. They should have had way more settings. That doesn't make sense that they released a game with like the most bare bone settings ever, and the mouse smoothing didn't make sense. A lot of the stuff, this game did not make sense. And that's what I want to say. Like, I'm not trying to glaze this game at all, because even though I like it, it still has some major problems. And he talks about, you know, the 3v3 mode. I'm gonna be honest, I think it's better than 5v5 mode, and you've probably seen gameplay of the 5v5 mode, you know, through this video. I'm not a big, I mean, I like it, but I feel like the 3v3 is a better mode for it, because it's trying to off the gate, trying to be a competitive game. You know, I do like the chaos of the 5v5, but you can tell it's not really balanced around that. And maybe they should have tried 4v4 first and see how that worked out. I think that may have been a better play, and it may have played better, but they released a 5v5 mode and now it's permanent. So, you know, a lot of people like it. I'm kind of like in the middle. Like, I still think the 3v3 is better, but the 5v5 is okay, you know. And before I leave, and before we get into the more positive and before I get into the more positive, you know, side of, you know, the streamers and YouTubers talking about this game, and get into how, well, like I said before, this is so audience captured. All they care about is views and stuff. I wanted to look at, I just wanted to show you this video and its thumbnail, right? How this thumbnail is just kind of insinuating like this can kind of be like they could have made Titanfall 3 or something. Like, he's tying Highguard to Titanfall 2, which is kind of weird. I'll tell you if you don't know, because it seems like a lot of people don't know. So Retro Beyond, probably a nice guy, I'm not sure. I've never watched any of his content, but this thumbnail is saying a lot. Highguard on the left to Titanfall 2. Can you compare these two games? Yeah, many ways. These developers from Highguard came from Respawn that made Titanfall 2. Guess what? They don't work with Respawn anymore, and they're not under EA. They couldn't have made a Titanfall game. So let's actually get into some streamers and YouTubers actually being honest about the game. First one, surprisingly, I don't watch a lot of his content, but it's Tim the Tatman. And you can see this is very hard for him to admit, like, well, let's actually just watch the clip.
I don't know. I do. Listen, when I play it again, I don't know, bro. It's like, take the chat out of it. Like, let's remove you guys. I probably would play this game again. But everyone's just like bitching, man. Like, it's so annoying. You know what I mean? Like, if I take the chat out, I'd probably check it out again, like play it again. I don't know. And I want to be very clear at the end of this, bro. None of this was an ad today. I just wanted to check this game out, bro. So, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, bro. Am I playing Arc Raiders? I don't know if I'm playing Arc Raiders. There's a part of me that's like, just go back to Marvel, Unk. You know, let's just go play some more Marvel tomorrow. I don't know. Just part of me that's sick of that. Just part of me that's like, let's run some Counter-Strike. Fuck it. You know, just play a legendary game. I don't know. But
And that's a perfect example, like him pandering to his audience, and he's not very happy. He's not. He's talking about going back to Marvel Rivals, and you see he doesn't really want to. It's not fun for him right now. Highguard is fun for him, and I get it. I get it. Like I said before, you make us. You all make us. But I feel like, you know, being a big streamer or YouTuber, they have no other jobs. This is how they make their money, and well, they have to play or react, whatever, to what their audience want to. And you know, kind of sucks because, you know, it sucks that you can't play something that you want to play, you know, that you're happy to play, that you find fun. And you know, you see, if you're on TikTok, you probably see a lot of smaller creators that, you know, don't have many views or aren't that big like me. Like, I'm not a big YouTuber, but that comes with not being honest. I'm always going to be honest with you all, no matter what. I find Highguard fun, but flawed. And I do want it to live on and want them to improve on it, to fix all the issues, the optimization, add even more settings, more game modes. You know, we're supposed to begin, they have a whole roadmap for this whole year, and they said at some point they're supposed to release a PvE mode. I want to see all that. I agree with some of the takes a lot of these streamers and YouTubers have, but not all the way, because I don't know, some of them are just making some outrageous claims. Like, one of my most watched YouTubers is Astrocross. He's a Destiny 2 streamer and YouTuber, kind of more variety now, which I'm happy for him. He just reached like 1 million subscribers on YouTube like a month ago or whatever. Happy for him. But you know, he's being honest too.
I had to play this game. But this is the crazy thing. Wildlight, who is the developer of Highguard, went completely dark. Didn't say a word. Guys, you're not gonna believe me until you actually play it yourself, but Highguard is a good game. Dare I say, a great game. Now, we can talk all day long about that trailer that was shown during the Game Awards, but this right here is raw gameplay from my time with it, and hot damn.
Now, I don't exactly agree with him saying it's a great game. I would land on it's a good game. A good but flawed game, I would say. And, you know, like I said before, like, people who are actually playing the game and, you know, giving the reviews that, like, the optimization's bad and no settings and all this other stuff, I agree with that. But the people who are saying, like, this game isn't original, this game isn't unique, the gameplay sucks, and all this other stuff, they're lying to you. I'm just gonna say it. They're lying to you. Maybe because they're, like I said, maybe because they're a big YouTuber, a big streamer, and they rely on the views, and the majority of the audience doesn't want to admit that they were wrong about this game. It doesn't play like Concord or Marvel Rivals. It's not a hero shooter like that. It's a PvP raid shooter. Yeah, like I said, no other game out there like this game. And at the end of the day, I do not want to see this game die, because there's nothing like this on the market. There's not. You know, that's all I really wanted to talk about. This video is probably way longer than I expected it to be. I tried to record this video like 2 or 3 times before, and you know, like, I don't think Highguard is a perfect game or a great game. I think it's a good, flawed game that if people was honest and disingenuous, and I think if people were just honest about the game and wasn't so afraid to change their mind and just admit that they were wrong about the game, I think we would probably get a lot more players. Because like I said before, you think all this negativity on the game isn't affecting it?
I have a big problem with Highguard, but it's not the game. Let me explain. Because of the negative review bombing, I can't even get my own brother to try it. I've played, I've had fun. The game's actually solid, but he sees the reviews and he's like, nah. Bro, if you're seeing this, just try the game with me. Gamer TikTok, help me out. Help me convince this man that this game is worth trying. I have a big...
We'd have seen a TikTok that the guy can't even get his own brother to play the game because all the negative press that the game got before it came out and now. So yeah, I just want to say that, you know, just be honest with you all at the end of the day. And if you like the video, leave a like. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate, so a lot of people are probably going to dislike this video, but it is what it is. You know, I'm going to be honest no matter what. Right now, with the 1,500 subscribers, and maybe one day when I get bad, and maybe one day when I get big, you know, 200,000 subscribers or something, I'm going to be honest no matter what. If I like a game and I think it's good, I'm going to tell you. If it's not, I will let you know, because that's what I'm really here for. Yes, to pander to you a little bit, but not, you know, put myself in a situation where I'm playing a game where I just don't want to play it. I don't like it that much. All right, like I said, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.